Okay, as we also have when we were looking at the VAT, you log in with your login details, which we already have. All right, so once we have, you are logged in with your login details, you get to this platform, then you click on group taxes, group taxes. This is where you have other taxes that are not part of, so you have the group taxes here. I saw somebody talking about stamp duties, raising a question on stamp duties. This is where you have the stamp duty also. You can see withholding taxes, pay as you earn for those that are in Abuja who are paying their payee to FRS, withholding VAT, that is VAT that is withheld at source for companies who are oil companies. They make use of this withholding VAT to remit the VAT that they deduct at source. So stamp duty, these are all here. So but we are dealing with withholding tax here. We are dealing with withholding tax. So we click on withholding tax. Okay. Now, from this platform, after clicking on withholding tax, you have, we are looking at what we are filing. The returning currency is NGN. So we click on NGN. And then you know that if you are the returning withholding type, if it doesn't fall under dividend or interest, then you click on others. Then we go straight to the period. For example, now we are filing for July. Say we are filing for July. So then you take the last date of the month. The last date of the month of July, because you file July in August. So last date of July. Then I was talking the other time about the sample templates, download sample templates. If you look at from my slide, I have a sample of that sample template that we are that we can make use of. This template is structured in a way that you cannot, I think that's the area where people find it difficult to file withholding taxes. And it is just a matter of understanding the instructions given for this sample template. And the instruction is that everything you are putting on this sample template, you should remove all format, no formula inside it. So what we advise is that your schedule, your withholding schedule, you will do it on your Excel. So when you do it on your Excel, then you remove all the formatting. After creating it on your Excel, you remove all the formatting and then copy it and then paste it into this sample template. And when you paste it into the sample template, and then you now upload. If you don't do that, you may find it very difficult to upload because they have a format for the dates, and then they have, there are some key areas which I'll quickly just go through now. Let me just return back to the slide, and then I'll come back to this platform. Okay. So okay, so when we have this is the schedule template that we are talking about. You can see there is a format for the date. The date has to be in this format. Because from our Excel, we have different date formats. So you have to ensure that the date is in this format. This is very important. And that is one of the challenges that people have. Copy all the details from your schedule to the downloaded template, then upload the template, and then you submit. But some of the issues that people always encounter is TIN mismatch with beneficiary name. There are times that when you put those the TIN number of your the vendor, you get a message like TIN mismatch. So there are some of these vendors that don't give you the correct TIN. You have to ensure that you get the correct TIN. However, what we have said is that if you have TIN mismatch and you have tried it, because some people, they say that is the correct one and so on, just upload it like that. It will not stop the uploading. And it will stop your payment or uploading. Just upload and it will go through. Then the date and transaction amount and withholding amount format is very important. Very important. You have to get it right for this format to be submitted. Then the last column, which is the schedule reference. Schedule reference, you should not ignore the schedule reference. If you ignore it, you should not upload. So you have to put a reference there. This is just like a reference for each of those clients. Maybe possibly their invoice an invoice number or just a serial number that you create for your vendors. So you have to ensure that field, you can just put 011, 012, 013, 014, just like that, just to have a reference. Because if that column is ignored, you may not go through. So after you upload your schedule template, then you get to this point. You get to this point where a file you have uploaded. After you have uploaded, you get to this point where you can now proceed. So once you click to the proceed button, then it's submitted. And then you can now get to the payment platform where you generate your DIN or RRR for payment online. Note that for the payment online, it is either you pay online or you print. Those are the two columns that will come out from the platform: payment online or print. So if you have the token to make the payment as the accountant or whoever is remitting, then you can go with the online. But if you don't have it and then you have to go through an approval process before that process can be done, then you just print. You go to your print, or if you're also paying in the bank, you're going to pay in the bank, or you want to send schedule to the bank for payment instruction to the bank to pay, then you click on print. That way you can get your RRR or DIN number and then use it to do your payment, either in the bank or either you are paying also online. Another person is doing it. So this is very important. I will try to just go back to the TaxPro Max platform. So once you have, I think I've gone through this now. You choose the file to upload, and then you upload it, and then you have it done. Trying to see if I can do that here. Okay, I think I will be uploading here. So, all right, so that just is very simple. So it's something that once we get it right from the schedule, it's easier. So let me just go back to my presentation and then go through the planning. What are the things that we need to do to ensure that we get it right? Okay, so there are no issues, new issues that are brought no issues brought as regard the filing of withholding on TaxPro Max. However, from the input required when uploading the expenses in the audited financial statement for CIT filing, it is clear that without appropriate planning, companies may be unnecessarily exposed. So one of the things we found out is that while we were filing on TaxPro Max for all our clients, we discovered that at the point of expenses, to upload expenses into that platform, the platform was asking us several questions. For example, when you want to input rent expense on the CIT, the rent expense on the TaxPro Max platform, it will ask us, the owner of the building. If it is a limited liability, we have to state it. If it is a business, an individual, we have to state it. Then we'll state the TIN of that person. So all these informations, the way we did it this year, this is the first year on TaxPro Max, is that some of those things we just did not feel it. But we know as time goes on, all these things, you will not be able to move on to the next stage if you don't fill in all this information. So that makes it very important, because we know that for rent, you have to pay your withholding on it. For professional services, you have to pay your withholding on it. So when you key in any professional fee on that withholding on the CIT platform, it asks you immediately the name of that person, the company, or if it is an individual, and then it asks you for the TIN. So this becomes very important for us to get all these things right, so that we do not expose ourselves so much before we unnecessarily. So I'll just go through some of the planning approach that we have recommended. That's number one, is that we should develop a vendor service provider register. Some companies don't have a vendor register, and this is not so good. We need to have a vendor register where you register all your vendors. You have a list of all your vendors, the name of the company, the TIN, the address. So it is very important. You can maybe just do a form and give it to all your vendors to fill, a Google form or your physical form, depending on the status of those vendors that you are dealing with. Do it and generate all this information and develop a proper register, so that when it comes to providing some of this information, you have those information for your payments, for all your remittances on withholding taxes. So number two is that group the vendor or service provider into two, which is recurrent expenditure related vendors. You have some vendors that are on recurrent. For example, you pay a professional fee every month. That's recurrent. You pay it on a monthly basis, or you pay it on a quarterly basis. These are expenses that you know that you will always do. So you group those ones together as recurrent expenditure related vendor. These are people that you have to be looking at, monitoring their transaction on a monthly basis, and ensure that the withholding elements related to them are captured, and then those withholding elements are also put in your withholding schedule. This is very important. Then number two is that cost of sales or direct service related vendors. There are some cost of sales, your purchases and so on that you do. Other services that are not recurrent, they are related to your services. All these ones, withholding taxes that are related to them, they provide some services for you. You also group them together. Then number three is that you set a budget. Some accountant always creates monthly budgets. So when you do your monthly budget, it is important that you set your withholding tax that you are paying in your budget. So when you have it in your budget, it is easy for compliance. It makes it very easy, because especially for the recurrent withholding taxes, they can be in your, because they are recurrent. They are ones that you know. So it's easier for you not to miss it, because it's already in your budget. So you won't miss out on those withholding taxes. For example, a professional fee. So then number 4 is you review your cost of sales quarterly to ensure that if you have missed out on any withholding that is related to any transaction, which is related to your cost or your direct services, those ones you can capture them. Capture them and ensure that there are no omissions. So this is just the planning that we require, because withholding tax is not just as elaborate as we have for VAT. So these are just the simple things that we need to do to ensure that we are complying on a monthly basis. Thank you very much. And then I think we need to look at some of the questions now, as Elizabeth will come and guide us through those questions. And we'll also take all, because we want to ensure that we attend as much as possible to all your questions, because this is most important for us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayo. I believe that we have learned a lot on withholding taxes filing, the procedures that we need to go through, what we need to understand, what we need to do so that we would not fall victim of FRS penalty and interest. People action, as much as we can, we send to everybody. And for those, especially those who are not our clients, they can drop their email addresses in the chat box so that we can send it, to them personally too. I know that not everyone here is not everyone here is our clients. There are people who are external participants who just saw the flyers shared on the social media platforms and different places and decided to join. So you can please drop your email addresses so that we can share the slides and presentations with you if you would want them. Thank you. So now we're going into our questions. We have various questions bordering on the VAT filing and withholding taxes filing, and we'll be taking them one after the other. Some people have been asking about CIT filing. The major things we are dealing with on this webinar has to do with the VAT filing and withholding taxes filing only. It is strictly on VAT and withholding taxes filing. For CIT filing, for those of us who are not our clients, you might need to employ our services to become your tax consultant so that we can do that for you. And for those who are our clients, you already know how we do it. We handle your CIT filing with utmost importance. So right now, let's just go into our question. The first question we have here on the VAT filing. How does FRS know what is due as VAT every month? How will FRS determine what is due to us as VAT every month? Mr. Charles, please, can you answer that question?
Okay. FRS will not know what is due as VAT filing every month. However, they could have an idea. You all know that FRS have access to your bank data. Now, by experience, some of our clients have been triggered for VAT compliance just because of bank data. But not every client they can monitor. Maybe your transaction is huge. On a monthly basis, on a regular basis, they can trigger. So that is why the regime we have in Nigeria is self-assessment regime. The self-assessment regime allows you to find what you have actually, what you have, the transaction or the income you have actually earned for that month. So they won't know until they check their third-party information, which is rare. It's very rare. So self-assessment regime, that is what we are. So the only time they could come for your tax, that is tax compliance, they could come for VAT compliance. If they see that you are not regular in your compliance, you can come your office, or they can do audits or send you a letter by saying information, back-end information, which you may not know. They have access to your bank. That's what you should know. Via your team, they have access to your bank. So if your transaction is huge, they can get you. Okay. Then most.
Okay, thank you for that answer, Mr. Charles. For the second question, you mentioned during the webinar, during your session, that, for example, if a client is supposed to pay 100,000 naira, and the client pays 200,000 naira instead of 400,000. Now, somebody is asking, what if the client pays 100,000 instead of in place of 300,000, which figure will be imputed? Because now, if the client leaves 200,000 naira unpaid, that we are not sure which 200,000 we are imputing. If the client pays 100,000, is it 100,000 naira that was paid that will include 300,000 naira that remains unpaid? Or the 300,000 that remains unpaid? We need to be clear on the amount.
Now, the one remit or claim is the one that is unpaid. For instance, the 300,000, okay? It's the 300,000, the unpaid amount. That is what you put there. So automatically it will recognize the 100,000 as payment already. And when I was going through the VAT form, I said that you can go back in case you mistakenly impute the one that was, you have to go back, okay? But practically, it is the one that is unpaid you are adjusting for. So it's a 300,000 for the person asking that question. It's a 300,000 you input in that.
Okay, thank you. The third question now, this has been answered already, but I think we should put it out to those who might not understand it. How do we treat payments on receivables? Like I have been paid, just like this example that we said now, I've been paid 100,000 initially in 2021, and then comes 2022, the balance of 300,000 is being paid. How do we treat this?
Okay, like I said, that you have since you are reporting the income and payment is on cash basis, definitely will be receivable. For now, when we are to pay back duty or VAT on receivable, you need to visit the tax station. They will generate the PRN for you. That is a payment reference number. They'll generate that for you, and you make payment. And ensure you let them know that this payment is on receivables. On receivables just received for the previous year. You know how to treat it. But if you let them know that, oh, you are just paying, you are just paying not on the previous year, not letting them know that you just received the amount, it becomes a problem, because the way they will input it might generate penalty. And again, it's an amount that you have recognized already in your turnover. It's already recognized. So I think as time goes on, there will be a way that we might not necessarily need to visit the tax station. But for now, we need to visit the tax station to generate PIN for it.
Thank you. So now that has answered our next question. Are you saying that we should always visit the tax station for every? And that question has been answered thoroughly. Filings of past years that we want to make in this year, how do we go about them?
Now, the past year filing, if it is I don't know what the person actually means by past year filing. If it is a VAT, I want to believe that before now you have been filing a physical VAT filing. If you have not filed physical before, it will be better you visit the tax station, because if you impute it on the TaxPro Max, the penalty is crazy. the penalty is crazy. So it's better you go to the tax station to do that, to let them know that you are so years outstanding. Okay. Another thing that for our clients, if peradventure you have issue on your monthly filing, for instance, today is 24th, and you have not filed for the month of July, please, before you file, please let us know, and we will advise, don't put figure and fine now. Today is already 24. It will generate penalty both on filing and the amount that is due to pay because it's already late. So I'll advise you call us to advise you better on this.
Thank you, sir. And next question, which is the final question on VAT filing. When imputing the customer's thing, that is when adding record of sales, is it the FRS thing we are imputing or the TaxPro Max thing?
Please input the FRS thing, the one that ends with 001. Okay? Input the FRS thing.
Okay, I think we are clear on that. And if you feel we have not answered any of your questions, it is still not too late to drop the question in the chat box, and we'll try to attend to them as fast as possible before we round up with the session. Now we are going on to our withholding taxes question. The first question I have here says, if a company withholds from an enterprise or venture or business name, since they are under the tax jurisdiction of their various state tax authorities, will the TaxPro Max integrate with the State Internal Revenue Service portal, or will the company open an account for each state where its client is located to submit withholding taxes?
If I understand the question very well, withholding taxes that are payable to FRS are withholding taxes for companies and not individuals. It is withholding taxes that are for individuals are paid to the states. They are paid to the states. So it doesn't come to the TaxPro Max. So for example, if you have branches in several states, and then you do transactions in those states, and you have withholding taxes, then you have to register with the SIRS of that state and make your remittance to that state. But for any transaction in any of those states that are with companies, those ones will come to FRS, which is you have to remit on the TaxPro Max. So I think I've answered that question.
Okay, thank you, sir. The second question here is, after uploading the schedule and making payments, the status it is showing is unposted, that is the withholding tax remitted. As a result of 10 mismatch, and I'm certain the thing I entered is correct. How do I ensure this is posted?
Okay, this issue is, I think I mentioned it during my presentation, that one of the issues people always have is tin mismatch. And what we have said from all that we have done, we've had that experience with some of our clients. What we said is that go ahead and file, submit it, regardless of the tin mismatch. Your remittance has been done. FRS has received the money. The key thing is that concerning FRS is money has been paid. The only issue is that that vendor will not get credit for that money in his or her team. That person, the company, will not get the credit for it. That's the only thing that will happen. But in terms of your own compliance, you have fulfilled the compliance, because Some of the client vendor will say this is the correct something, but you may not know. Probably they are missing something in that number, possibly. But they will say it is the correct thing. But what do you want to do? You just file it and then continue. So the only thing is you can't get credit for it.
Another one here on withholding tax is some withholding tax on labor costs, which is separated from total cost. This aspect is not stipulated in the schedule.
Some withholding tax are on labor costs. If I understand what you're trying to say with that question, I believe you are saying, okay, for maybe you are doing a transaction with a service provider, you have someone who comes to your office to service your AC, So for a big company, you have a company who is doing that. And those companies, they will change some things, they will change some parts and so on. So the invoice that they will issue, the invoice will be such that the materials that they are changing would be stated separately, and then the labor cost, that is their own labor cost, which is the service that they are provided, will also be, so the VAT that they should put will be on the labor cost. Now, when you are also withholding from them, you also withhold on the labor cost. So it's not for the FRS to state for you labor cost or state, no. It is you that will ensure that you plan your engagement with your vendors properly and ensure that their invoices are properly arranged in a manner that when FRS come to check, they will not be asking for withholding tax on the total cost, rather on the labor cost. Because if they have put VAT, if they have put VAT on the total cost, then FRS will expect you also to take withholding tax on the total cost. So you must be an agreement between you and your vendor to ensure that they put their VAT on the labor cost so that you can also withhold on the labor cost. I think that should be clear. If you have any further question on that, you can still bring it up.
Okay, we have more questions on VAT. Mr. Charles? So, a question here says, in relating to the adjustment in VAT, what happens in a case the invoice amount originally has been entered into the VAT form? How do one account for the change? For example, when we are talking about construction income, where there are usually variations and other things, how do we adjust for all of these changes that occur after we might have imputed a particular
If somebody has made an error when doing the VAT and he has imputed the total sales, Abby?
Yes.
And there was no, he didn't do any adjustments. How do you?
I'll carry over. Hello. So, well, if you have a situation like this and you have already filed the VAT for that particular period, just take note. Our advice that you take note of that value or that figure so that you adjust in the subsequent month. Okay, adjust that in the subsequent month. You know, VAT or income recognized, we are looking from January to December. In between, we can do some, will I call it manipulations or calculations? Okay, calculations, you know, adjustments in within the year. Okay, you can do some adjustments. Okay, so we are saying that if you have that in the previous month, you can adjust in the subsequent months going forward.
Okay, thank you, sir. Another question here says, in reference to sales adjustments, if a client hasn't paid you and you impute the total amount, how will you treat the inflow in another month when the client pays?
The same thing. I know once you put that the figure or the amount that the client has, the amount that the client did not pay. The system will automatically recognize the total sales for that previous month. Now, when you are not making payments, you can adjust, that payment for the subsequent month. Okay, you can adjust it.
Thank you, sir. Another question here says, is it possible to regenerate PRN because there's always a deadline in case of failure to meet the deadline?
Hello, in generating PRN, if, for example, the VAT cutoff date is 21. Now, if you do that, maybe on the 18th, and you want to regenerate before 21, you are still okay. But after 21, it may generate penalty for you because the cutoff date has come. So if you have an issue before 21, you can regenerate without penalty. That's I'm sure. But after 21, you may have a penalty on that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Another question here says, can you please explain VAT credit as per VAT filing?
Now, VAT credit, you can have VAT credit where you have input VAT in a particular month, which is far above your VAT payment. So in that case, definitely you have VAT credit, which will be carried forward to the next month for you automatically.
Okay, this is a general question now. The person is asking if it is possible to change or adjust the login details.
Yes, you can. But for the email, you might go to the tax station. But for the password, you can. For the password, you go to, on your TaxPro Max, you click on, when you click on the login, you will see below the login, you will see forget password. So you click on that forget password, put the email there. That is the email that is registered with FRS, and click it. It will bring a new password to that email. But if you want to change the email entirely and everything entirely, you have to visit the tax station. Okay? But you can change your password. You can sit down and change your password as long as you have access to that email that is already in their platform. But if you want to change the email entirely, you have to go fill the update form again and approach them in the tax station.
Okay. Another question here says, we made some payments online and we have received receipts of some of them, while one is still pending. What can we do?
Okay, this is common. The payments, if the payments if your account has been debited, we have seen a situation where an account was debited, but it was reversed after almost 2 or 3 weeks because we didn't even get the receipt. When I mean receipt, the FIR receipt. So with time, it might be reversed. But if not reversed, I think it's better you lodge a complaint to FRS. And if we are your task consultant, you can tell us, we'll write them and follow up with it.
This person wants to know the deadline for withholding taxes filing.
The deadline for withholding taxes filing is 21st of the following, just as VAT. However, currently there is no penalty. They are not putting penalty on it as we used to have for VAT. So that's why for withholding tax, even if you have, unlike VAT, where you have bad duty, that okay, those VAT of the past, you want to pay them now. that you have to go to the tax station. For withholding tax, it's not like that because they are not yet bringing penalties on the amount that you are paying. So you can pay once you do your schedule, whatever the date is, you can make the payment and upload the schedule. So, but our advice is that ensure you are paying every month as you are making those deductions because of cash flow. Ensure you are paying it every month so that you don't accumulate too much and then it becomes something so big for you to pay. So pay as you are making those deductions.
Thank you. Another person is asking, there's a case study here on VAT on labor costs and material costs. Is it right to just charge VAT on labor costs? For instance, material supplied is 10,000 naira and labor cost is 5,000 naira. Total amount on the invoice is 15,000 naira. Are you sure? Are you saying it is in order VAT on 5,000 and not 15,000 naira?
Okay, I think I've answered 1,000 because that's the law. That's the way to program your invoice in a manner that you don't expose yourself too much. But if they charge the VAT on the total sum, if the VAT is charged on the total sum, then withholding must be on the total sum because the transaction is already exposed. So VAT is charged on the value because that's the value. So the reason why it looks as if it is okay, because maybe the amount is small. When you have supplies that are very huge, you understand that you cannot be charging VAT on entire sum. So somebody is asked to supply 100 units of AC now, and then you are now telling the person that he's going to buy it. You're not telling the person to put VAT on. No, it must be on the value that is adding. That is his management cost, his labor cost, and so on. That is what is going to be on. Thank you.
Thank you too. Another question here on VAT. I have a VAT that was paid twice, and I expected the FRS to automatically adjust my next payment to reflect the overpaid amount. How do I use the extra payment on my ledger balance to claim my VAT?
Okay, now if the payment was made by TaxPro Max, was it for a particular month? Yeah, twice. If it's for a particular month, definitely it will flow to your ledger. That means you have credit. So when you have credit, you have a credit for a particular amount. So when you are making return in the following month, that amount that you have credit for, that which is already in the system or in their system, that amount, you have to adjust it. For instance, if you have a total sales for, let's say 100,000, but the value of that amount that you have as a credit is already like 50,000. So I would advise that you adjust your current amount so that the credit, it will hit your system that you already have such credit. It will net off, instead of paying the full amount. So the adjustment will be done in the following month. It can happen. That credit is automatically there for you.
Okay, I hope that answers your question. The next question here says, I'm aware that you can only remove material costs from VAT if it is reimbursable. Explain. You can only remove material costs from VAT if it is reimbursable.
Or you can only charge VAT on material costs if it is reimbursable. The question is not very very clear. Whether the person asking this question is not very clear. So, but I will just answer it this way. VAT is charged on materials. I mean, it's charged on the service, the labor, I think, which we have said. So I don't really get that question. Maybe the person can try to rephrase the question in a manner that we can understand and be able to answer the question.
Okay. This person is also asking if it's possible to make payments after 21st, after you have generated your PRN.
Okay. Now, via experience, if you have filed and you have generated the PRN, now the bank will not accept it from you. The bank will make you to go and to generate that PRN again. And in that case, that means you, by the time you are generating, definitely there'll be penalty on it. But however, if we ask someone to try, once you generate that PRN before the closure of the day, then you want to pay after 21st. Paying through online, we found out that you can skate through without penalty. Yeah, so there are two cases here, or two scenarios. Going to bank, they will ask you to go and regenerate. But if you pay directly from your bank, maybe you generated it on the 20th, or you generated it on the 21st. You understand? Under 24 hours, I think you can still pay without penalty. That is, if you are not regenerating a new PRN.
This person wants to know if an enterprise with just 2 employees need to register for withholding taxes.
Okay, if the company, a company can have 2 staff and be doing a lot of transactions. Yeah. So it's not a matter of number of staff. It's not a matter of number of staff. You can talk about number of staff when you are talking about payee. That's when you can talk about number. And you still have to register and pay your withholding tax as at when due, according to the law. So it's not a matter of the number of staff that you have.
Okay, we'll take 2 or 3 more questions and we round up. Mr. Charles, the person who asked on the VAT that was paid twice has put in a further comment here. Person said the credit didn't adjust itself when sales was adjusted. The VAT generated for the next month was stated based on the value imputed, and the sum to be paid was in the actual amount requested for, and the overpaid amount is still in the ledger. Please, where in the TaxPro Max will you impute the overpaid amount so that it clears off from the ledger balance?
Let me just answer that. What I was saying is that it's not that you are going to adjust, go back to in the following month that you want to pay. It's not that you are going to go to adjustment of sales. You are not adjusting. But what we are saying is that if you are now filing the following month, and your total sales that you want to file is 100,000. That's your total sales that you want to file by yourself, because you know you have done an overpayment in the previous month. So by yourself, instead of keying in 100,000 as your sales, then if 50,000 is the transaction amount for that overpayment of last month, you take that 50,000 away from that 100,000. So you have 50,000 as what you are going to input as sales. So it's just you adjusting by yourself, so that to cover the overpayment, overpayment that you made in the previous month. So this is different from the adjustment. You know, the adjustment that Mr. Charles explained the other time was based on sales that you have received, sales that you made that some people have not paid. It is you have invoiced it, but they have not made payments. Those are the ones you are adjusting for. But this one, you know you have an overpayment, so you just by yourselves, okay, so that because FRS will never pay you back. To say that they will pay you back the money, they will never pay you back. So you are the one that would take that credit by adjusting your total sales. So at the end of the day, there's a you are sure that you are covered. That money is not lost. So that's what we advise.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answers your question thoroughly now. This person is asking how they would use the 2020 withholding credit notes that has already been submitted to the FRS station for subsequent years. Note that the withholding tax credit notes are excess after using some for 2020 CIT.
Okay. Now, if you have withholding credit notes for 2020, you know, for those credit notes that was issued or hit your system, that's between July last year to date, all of them are in your TaxPro Max. If you go to your TaxPro Max, you will see your credit note from maybe from July last year. However, there was a circular that FRS passed on to the public that we should submit our credit note. So the credit note before July last year, that is January to July, you submit that. So everything will flow into your portal. That's for 2020. But if you still have credit note for previous years down 2019, then there was a window for reconciliation so that all your credit note will be uploaded. So for your question, the 2020 withholding credit is already there. So automatically, every year when you file your CIT, the withholding will always be waiting for you. At the point of submission or at the point of submitting, they will ask you, do you want to use your withholding? Now, this thing is supposed to be automated, but FRS, for now, they are still doing it manually because the system is new. So it's still manual, but however, they will open the system for you so that you'll be able to use your credit note. So you can still use your credit note of the previous year for current year. For instance, you can use the 2020 withholding credit note XX for this year account by the time you are filing in 2022. So it's still there for you to use. It's on the TaxPro Max. The ones from last year, June, July to date, they are on TaxPro Max. So the issue of going after your clients or going after printing credit notes is a thing of the past. So it flows automatically to your TaxPro Max. So you can use it in subsequent years.
Okay, 2 more questions and we are out. We're trying as much as possible to answer all questions, but time is against us. This person wants to know how long it takes for the PRN to expire after generating it. I think we have said this several today.
Okay, on the PRN, now the FRS statement on this is that your PRN will still be valid till the day that tax type is due. For instance, if you generate your PRN before 21st, you understand? Before on the 18th, you can still use it direct, but banks are rejecting it. Banks will tell you that it's 24 hours. You understand? But I'm saying that if you pay online, it won't reject. But banks should take it to the bank. System said 24 hours. And but at the same time, they said we can use it as long as the due date of filing is not expired. So, you know, this is a new system, and these are the teething problem we will have. So maybe as time goes on, we will have something that is standard. But for now, if you generate before the due date and you pay online, no problem. You can still use it. But if you take it to the bank will tell you that it has expired 24 hours. They won't even, once they see the date, they will reject it. They won't even...
The final question for today. This person is asking if in a situation where you only made sales to a customer, but there was no labor cost, does it mean we shouldn't charge VAT on that?
VAT is on sales, so that's direct. You charge your VAT on the sales, whether if there's no labor cost.
She might say, I get you, sir. It means the payment will still be on. Yes, okay. She might say that.
I think the
an issue because I'll try.
I think sorry. I think since if you follow what we have said, there will not be an issue with tax audits, because what the tax audit is all about is to check your compliance one and your remittance. How much are you supposed to remit? 1 million. And your ledger says you have remitted 1 million. So there is no issue. So I think you should try it. And if you have a further question, you can contact us on this. We can give you further guidance.
We want to sincerely appreciate everyone who has been a part of this webinar today. It's been a wonderful session. We have learned a lot of things. And we believe that everything we have learned today, we will implement so that we would have a better understanding of our VAT and withholding taxes filing, and to also avoid the long arms of the law. We will be sending the slides to the participants as we have promised. Our clients, you have your email address, expect them. And for those who are not our clients that have dropped their email addresses, we will also share this with you. Alongside the slides, we'll be sending our feedback form. We expect you to please fill the feedback forms and submit so that we can have a thorough assessment of how well we fared based on this training that we had. Also, you can also always reach us on info@soccompliance.com for us to do business together so that we can always help you with ironing out your tax and audit issues, whatever compliance issue you might have. We are always open to do that. We are so grateful. We thank you. We appreciate you. And we look forward to doing more businesses with everyone. Thank you.
Okay, once again, I also want to thank everyone for attending. Thank you for your time. Thank you for making out to join us. And then we expect that such events will be coming, we'll be having more. And we hope that anytime we would come up with it, you will be available to join us. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.